This week on the Dry Bar Comedy Podcast.
My grandpa once poured motor oil on his pancakes by mistake.
What kind of cheese do they like then?
You're kind of like Rudy with a way sadder ending.
Welcome to the Dry Bar Comedy Podcast. As usual, it's Taylor Nielsen.
And Jordan Macon right over here, Taylor.
We got a great episode today, don't we, Jordan?
Well, both of us we have a lot of energy today.
We got radio energy today.
Yeah, faces for radio.
That's right.
And voices
For pod.
for pods, for podcasts.
Meaning
Welcome to
podcast.
the podcast. Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Should we just jump right in and show who our comic's going to be?
I think we got to reveal who the guest is because people are going to be excited to see him.
Let's roll the clip.
A lot of people confuse being trash with being poor. I'm here to tell you they're not the same. All right, being poor means you don't have a lot of money. Being trash means you go into debt for fireworks. There's a difference. One of us had more fun, you know? People say, oh, that's just a joke, Seth. My dad used to go to the store to get groceries for the family, come back with $0 worth of groceries, $400 worth of fireworks. That's the modern equivalent of trading your last cow for magic beans. It's not fiscal responsibility, Dad. I was a little bit worried. My dad came to a show once, and I was worried he was going to be sad or offended at those jokes. Comes up to me after the show, kind of somber. He's just like, those fireworks are pretty fun, though, right? And you know, he was right, because fireworks are gorgeous when you're hungry. That is a fact. Ooh,
All right, that was our guest for today. You guessed it. It's Seth Tippetts. You know from his special, Tall Dark Gigante, his first special, and that special, American Cheeseplate. Welcome to the podcast, Seth Tippetts.
It's great to be here.
It was great. How'd you like watching your comedy?
I hate watching myself.
Come on.
I don't even like seeing me in a mirror. Why would I want to watch a video high definition 4K with makeup? I mean, the makeup helps a little, I think.
I think you look great in that special.
Yeah, but you're wearing makeup now, aren't you?
Well, a magician never reveals his secrets.
No, that seems to be a running theme with people watching their stand-up is they hate it. We've done this every episode.
Yeah.
And are we going to stop doing it anytime soon?
No,
we're
sorry,
not.
Bob.
Well, both specials they filmed, and then it was 9 months later that it came out. So now I'm worried about having kids. It's like beginning, well, I think I would like to have this kid. And then 9 months later, like, I regret everything. I shouldn't have done it.
It's a lot of times to ponder.
It is a lot of time to ponder.
Right.
I mean, the big thing, I guess, is that the jokes get better. Like, if you're still, like, certain jokes I still do from that special, it's like, I've missed that punchline. That one came after the special.
Yeah.
Which,
But the people watching don't know. They just love it.
I know, I shouldn't have told them. They were perfect jokes, and I've never done them better.
But you were telling us before you like to dive into the comments.
Ugh.
So tell us about the hair comment you got. Maybe speak to it a little bit.
Well, some context. My first special, the big comment was, this guy touches his hair too much, it's distracting. Because I kind of have longer hair, and so I'd give it one of these.
Right, keep it in check.
I don't know if it's a nervous twitch or not, but like I would just touch my hair, and I think they were just jealous.
If I had luscious hair like you, I'd
be touching it.
I'd be touching all the time.
You'd be
I can't
touching
touch mine for fear that it will fall out. You're
just like,
Oh, no. Maybe they wanted to touch it themselves. They were jealous.
I think so. But because of that, I like internalized it way too much. So from the first special, touching my hair too much. Second special, I'm like, I want to be made of plastic. Just make me 80% hair gel. And one of the comments was, profoundly confusing hairstyle. And I was just like, what does that even mean? You were profoundly confused? I didn't touch my hair as much because it was full of bobby pins and stuff. But when I look at it, it does a little bit look like I was wearing a hairnet. Like it's just like keeping it.
Really?
I don't know.
I was
Dry Bar secrets exposed.
Yeah.
I look at it and I think it looks good. I wouldn't say profoundly confused. I would say it's bigger than your hair normally is.
Yeah, it was a little big.
It kind of comes out a little bit, but it doesn't look bad.
A little bit Lord Farquaad going on.
Yeah.
Do you know the Muffin Man? I should have just opened with that.
That's great. Next time.
You're like 3 Lord Farquaads on top of each other.
I know. That's it.
3 in a trench coat. That's a...
Lord Farquaad. What is Lord Farquaad doing that requires a trench coat? selling drugs to the people of Duloc.
He was always, if I remember correctly, he was causing Shrek a lot of trouble, that Farquaad.
That Farquaad
You
guy.
remember that?
He was a villain,
He was.
in more or less, in no uncertain terms. John Lithgow.
I think he was misunderstood.
Let's get into that.
Well, there's a great fan theory about Shrek that the ogre's the bad guy
Well, because he's the ugliest character.
on basis of being an ogre. Just an idea.
That's a great fan theory.
I read it on Reddit somewhere.
Or
You know,
posted
the
it
entire
on Reddit.
internet. I've read the entire internet. It's all true.
They do showings where all you do is boo whenever Shrek's on screen.
Oh, man. The Farquaad cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord
About
Farquaad's on
time,
stage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Our hero, Farquaad.
Mira, show me Fiona. Perfect.
Yeah.
You know too many Shrek quotes, Seth.
Do I? Or do you
Or
not know enough?
Not enough.
You've got a pretty good Farquaad voice, too. That's pretty
I don't know if
spot
that's a compliment.
No, he has a great voice.
Yeah.
No, he does good.
Who does play Farquaad?
It's John Lithgow.
John Lithgow.
Oh, yeah.
Third Rock from the Sun. Great actor.
Yeah.
Big fan of John Lithgow.
All my theater, all my acting stuff, I've played villains. So I think I do kind of have a villain voice. Like, I was the devil. I was Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. I was Chuck Cranston in Footloose. Like, villains you haven't even heard of. I'm just riding up on a motorcycle because I'm tall.
Well,
Sounds
listen,
familiar.
I'm going to make a segue back into Seth Tippetts territory.
Okay.
The town
We're
of
going
Footloose,
to cut all of that then.
a rural town filmed in Utah.
Yes.
A rural
Lehigh.
town in
Lehigh.
Utah.
Lehigh.
In Lehigh, Utah. You're from a rural town in Utah.
I
are you
am,
not?
yes. Technically Perry, but no one's heard of that, so I say Brigham City.
Oh, really?
Some people have heard of that, but outside of Utah, nobody's heard of that.
How big's Perry?
Perry was like 2,000 people, I think, 1,500 when I was
wow,
growing up. It wasn't big.
Yeah.
It was like the big city was Brigham City, and that was like
And Brigham City is not a
15,000.
big city.
Yeah, so it was like
So that was the closest larger.
oh well, they had a Walmart, and Perry had fruit stands. So if you didn't want to get scurvy, you were in the right place. But if you wanted to like change a tire, you had to go into the big city. Had to hitch up the horse and
Brigham
buggy.
City.
So, I mean, your premise here, trash is different than poor. Your special's name is American Cheeseplate. We were talking about, a little bit beforehand, Taylor and I were thinking about weird meals we had as kids that were kind of like trash meals. I would just have regular bread and put cheese on it. And maybe
Oh, fancy pants over here with bread.
If we had little pepperonis, I'd put it on and just microwave it.
Yeah.
In my brain, it was pizza.
Oh, that's a staple right there.
you do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When my dad was doing well and we could afford bread and not just cheese. That's like because I was talking about cheese plates and people in the crowd sometimes will yell out, "Oh, we did that!" And I was like, "Yeah, we only put it on tortilla chips." Like that's nachos, you idiot. That's not cheese plate. Don't you out trash Seth Tippetts.
Yeah.
Although I did yell that once, and someone yelled out that they used to eat ketchup on snow, which is a lot worse than whatever. Like that's.
What is that
Ketchup
even
on snow.
emulating?
I don't know. Like a
Like a
bad
snow
snow cone.
cone?
I mean,
Like a tomato
ketchup is a
snow
lot of sugar. I've
It's
heard.
sweet.
And
Corn
on
syrup?
snow?
Yeah,
like
I
from
think-
the sky.
I think they were. No, Taylor, from Costco. Cost snow.
That,
They can't all be
We
good.
caught it.
But yeah, they did out trash me. Ketchup
That's
on
so
snow.
weird that I
Ketchup
kind of
on
want to
snow.
try it now.
Ketchup on snow.
you got to.
I don't even might as well give it a shot. Well, maybe not. You know what? You don't need to try everything.
Well, just the audacity of them to say that they did that, it makes me feel like I have to follow down this dark path.
you might be
It's
missing something.
I feel like because people want to try stuff they haven't tried. I feel like I'm single-handedly like making cholesterol worse in America as I tour. Because every time I do a show somewhere that hasn't heard of that, they're like, "I'm gonna try it." And then when I've come back to places, I'll have people come and be like, "Oh, you know that cheese plate joke you did?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I do it every day, and I'm like, "That is not an everyday meal. That is why are you doing this?" And they're like proud of it. They're like proud to tell me that they've been eating just plain cheese on a plate.
Let me ask, how much cheese were you putting on there?
Oh, it was a thin layer.
Thin layer?
Definitely thin
so
layer.
would it be hard? Like,
Well,
would you
so
kinda scrape
just
it
the
off a
way,
little bit?
maybe this is just how crappy microwaves work, but like there'd be like concentric rings of different like I know too much about cheese plates, but so like the center would be kind of a little bit gooier, and then you'd have like a ring of like really crispy, crunchy deliciousness.
Sort of like a model of the Earth. You had the crust. The hardest crust. You had the mantle layer, a little bit softer, and in the center you had a molten core.
Molten core. So you'd eat the center first because if it got cold, it would be like you'd have the grease just sitting on top of it.
Was that a good thing?
No. Sometimes I would to be healthy. Sometimes I would like drip the grease off the cheese, like just like hold it over the sink for a bit, but like that's the thing I tell people is like the best part of like a burrito is the crispy cheese that got like burnt to the plate around the side. I just skip the middleman. I don't need a burrito. I just get that crispy cheese. Well, then like years later, I go to like a local store that they had cheese crisps and they were selling for $14, and it's literally just a cheese plate that they like cooked too long and then broke it up into little like triangles. And they're like $14. I should have been. I mean,
you need to make a fruit stand in Perry, Utah.
Yeah,
but not fruit, just
a cheese stand.
Homemade cheese crisps.
Yeah. Homemade, just like a mama used to make in a dirty microwave.
Ooh, that sounds good. I'm getting hungry. Ooh, are you getting?
It's a little early.
I'm kind of hurting.
Should I have brought a cheese plate?
Never too early.
I had a friend that made one for my birthday just because she thought I would want that, and I was like, I don't eat this anymore. But
did you eat it that time?
Well, it was on a paper plate, which was part of the problem. So when I like pulled it up, it like came with additional soluble fiber. I'll say it was.
A little more substance. That's more of a complete meal.
That's right.
Do you remember the ad campaign for it was either Burger King or McDonald's where they were like, you get the burger and you get the cheese paper, and people be eating the cheese that was stuck off. Like that was before we had any sort of idea of like what's healthy in America, I feel like, or at least that we cared.
Right.
Do you remember this? It was cheese paper. You get it with your burger.
It's just like an upsell.
Yeah, but like the cheese that gets melted onto the paper.
It wasn't a real thing they made. It was like kind of a gimmick because the cheese.
He was just saying you should
lick the cheese because people were doing that.
Rip the cheese off of this paper, you dirty animals.
How would you like to bioaccumulate microplastics before we know what that is?
Yeah. That made me think of it, and I did eat the cheese off of it.
Who doesn't?
I paid good money for that burger.
You don't
judge me.
Wasting food.
I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hungry.
I feel like classy people, like if they're full, they're just like, that's it for me, or I'll take it home to the dog. But like growing up, trash was just wasting food was the biggest sin you could possibly make. It was just like, oh, you better eat it, or you're eating it tomorrow. And it's like, but it's not going to be good tomorrow. It ain't good today. Just eat it. And like,
Taylor, do you have any meals you'd make as a kid that are kind of trash meals?
I would also do a variation of pizza, but on a tortilla.
Oh, tortilla pizza.
Tortilla pizza.
Mixing of cultures.
Yeah. So
appropriating, if you will.
A fusion.
Appropriating double appropriating.
Fusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we'll just do destructured pizza. We have the pepperonis on one side. It's a Mexican, Italian
I was prolific.
fusion.
I was ahead of my time.
Did you use ketchup for the marinara sauce?
I used tomato sauce.
Oh,
so
he's got an Italian blend of spices in his ketchup, unlike moi.
Yeah, I don't remember anything else at the moment. That was probably the height of my culinary creation. No, another one came to me.
Okay, let's hear it.
I used to make pancakes, but then I used to like tear up little pieces of bread and put it in because I thought it would add a little like surprise.
Wait, you would like a regular mix of pancakes?
So instead of baking soda or baking powder, what goes in pancakes?
Well, usually it's just the mix. You just mix water with it.
Yeah, I was going to say I've never made pancakes from scratch.
These are scratch pancakes.
These were scratch, yeah, blender pancakes.
What did you think the bread was going to add?
I thought instead of baking powder is supposed to like leaven the pancakes and make it lighter. So I thought instead bread is leavened.
So you're going to use already used yeast that was in bread. You're like, well, it's got a little kick to it.
Yes.
I thought you were like saying that like you do regular pancake batter and then you just put chunks of bread in there as if they were like blueberries or chocolate chips. You're like, and every once in a while I'll get a bite with other bread. I can't wait to have a second bread.
No. I put little surprise chunks of something less flavorful than pancakes. So you get a little surprise, little blast of
When
blandness.
sometimes when you think that maybe bread or maybe pancakes are just too zesty, you add the other bread to make it to bring it down.
I need to
earth.
slow down.
Man, you are
bit.
white. I thought I was pale. That is the whitest thing I have ever.
Yeah.
Bread
And-
in pancakes.
And then just some
Holy-
clear corn syrup over the top.
I hope that last part's a joke.
That is.
My grandpa once poured motor oil on his pancakes by mistake and ate 2 bites before realizing he had made a mistake.
That's the worst feeling when
Whoa.
you're eating something that's bad and you're like, that was a weird bite. And I guess I need to try it one more time. And it's like, oh, it was expired 2 years ago. Motor oil's a little bit crazy.
You know, my grandpa was like 450 pounds. And the only memories I have of him was saying, are you going to finish that? Like, I never saw him walk either. I would just come upstairs and he'd be in my house for a birthday party and then just eat the whole cake if no one wanted it. And so...
How tall was he? Was he your?
No. I'm by far I'm a freak of nature in my family.
Really?
Really?
My dad, so that's on my dad's side. He's 6 foot. He's had 3 back surgeries, so he's probably not 6 foot. He played football.
He's taller or shorter? Like
Yeah,
they
he
put a
got
few
back
more
surgery.
vertebrae in?
He got back surgeries and they made him taller. We have the technology. We can rebuild him. No, he's definitely shorter. But so he was the tallest in their family by a pretty large margin, being 6 foot. And then my mom's like 6'3", 6'4", and so then and I'm 6'9". So no one's even. Yeah, I'm just a freak. Pituitary malformation. No.
Okay. Maybe some nutrients from your grandpa, him having eaten motor oil and all that food as a youngster, that transferred down the line, skipped a generation, and then provided you with
That's right. That's why I'm part Chevy,
sustenance.
because he ate motor oil and epigenetics. Turns out.
You have a science degree, right?
Yeah. Well, you do? I minored in science, majored in culinary, and it was...
Was it your love of bread and pancakes that made you major in culinary?
that was my thesis.
Did you actually? Or is this just, I can't tell what's joking.
No, I...
Because you do have a cool 15 contiguous minutes on celery. I can't believe I'm in a room with Celery Man and Heck Boy themselves.
It's an honor for you. Really.
I know.
That would be awesome if I went to culinary school and all my jokes were just about different types of food. But no, I'm a film
Call you
major.
Chef Nielsen.
Chef Nielsen.
He gave me a really great recipe. You buy a little thing of tapioca pudding, and you put some bread in it. It's delicious bread pudding.
bread pudding.
It's
Yeah.
you can really taste the bread, especially the first 2 bites.
Let's not reveal all my secrets.
It just
Jordan.
adds something. I don't know what it adds. Carbs.
I just love the breadiness of
Just
it.
gets
Yeah.
like, what's the crappiest Walmart? Just great value bread. You can't go too high shelf with it.
What do you think the worst bread is? Because I think Wonder Bread is pretty bad.
Wonder Bread's awful.
I would.
But I-
Wouldn't
I-
you say the Walmart variation of Wonder Bread's even worse though?
I don't know. As a kid, Wonder
Wonder
Bread.
Bread.
I was very taken by branding as a kid. Like
Oh,
Wonder
absolutely.
Bread sounds awesome. I want Wonder Bread.
But that's like, you can tell how trash a food is by how good the adjective is they put next to it.
That's true.
It's like, Wonder Bread. And there's another one. Miracle Whip. You're like,
yeah, Miracle
Whip. Is it a miracle? It's a miracle that it's edible. I don't know what it's made out of. Petroleum.
I'm a weird person that I do like.
Sponsored
Miracle
by
Whip.
Miracle Whip.
Yeah, exactly. I'm realizing Wonder Bread's because you wonder if it is bread. I think that makes more sense for the branding. Miracle Whip, I did some research on it. Because as a white person, you research mayonnaise and Miracle Whip a lot.
Why do I like this so much?
And it was originally
Recurring
made,
dreams about Miracle Whip.
Yeah, the tasty zip. And I looked up why it was made, or I came across why it was made. It was actually made as a lower calorie, lower fat version of mayonnaise.
Oh.
Which I always thought it was more because of the zest, the tasty zip.
Yo, it's
I thought
got
there'd be more calories.
Now,
It's actually
Miracle
helped.
Whip isn't Cool Whip.
No.
I was getting it confused.
Oh, you're way, yeah. Those are
I'm
all
way
Now
off.
I know you didn't go to culinary school. You don't know the difference between Miracle Whip and Cool Whip.
Busted.
Yeah, that's you learned that in 1010, culinary 1010.
Class, today we'll be talking about Miracle Whip and its many applications. I don't know why I had a chalkboard
They
in
do that.
college. I haven't been to college. No.
I feel like that's
The
what
other-
I'll say, but
The other one is
I love mayonnaise and
American cheese. I grew up thinking like that was the best cheese.
just because I'm
Because
American.
I'm like, made in America. I'm American. And then you're like, no, this is the worst cheese. This is like processed to crap.
Yeah.
I actually got shamed by the cheesemonger, which is another word for cheese seller, at like my local grocery store. The cheesemonger, I went in there, I had a recipe. It was a trash recipe. Granted, it was mac and cheese. But it required 8 ounces of American cheese.
Right.
And I was like, and I wanted to get like nice American cheese. So I went up to they got like their little slicey machine, and they had never opened it. Like the American cheese they had. And when I said like, I'll take 8 ounces, they're like, why? Why would you want 8? And I was like, what do you mean why? I'm buying your cheese. This is your job. Like, can I interest you in some cheese that doesn't like? Here's some better cheese. And I'm like, the recipes. There's a recipe that says American cheese. I'm like, yeah, man. And anyway, I left with my American cheese and a lot of guilt.
Those cheese people don't like freedom, apparently.
Really highfalutin cheesemongers.
Yeah, what kind of cheese do they like then? Huh? They don't like
Gouda?
American. What do they like?
I don't know any other cheeses. There's like a French sounding.
There's blue cheese. There's
Gruyere.
Gorgonzola. That's my
Gruyere.
favorite type of cheese. What's your guys' favorite type of cheese?
Ew, gorgonzola,
Blue cheese. Italian blue cheese.
Pepper jack.
pepper jack.
When I'm
is
crafting
delightful.
Subway-
Pepper jack.
When
Sounds pretty American too.
When I'm crafting my Subway sandwich with their sandwich artists.
The sandwich artist.
Yeah, when we're collaborating on a sandwich, me and the sandwich artist.
That's hilarious.
Pepper jack every time. No
now-
matter the sub.
Now I want to make an Instagram reel and like collaborate with a sandwich artist. Like have it's like just like tag them. It's like this is my sandwich, but really a lot of the credit has to go to Brianna at Subway.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
funny. I feel like
go
that's
viral.
That's a lot of people's first introduction to different types of cheeses. Is
It's
the Subway line?
Subway,
Yeah.
Educational purposes alone. That's why it's the biggest chain in America.
Thank you, Subway, for expanding our culinary horizons.
But I will say this: I don't like that your cheddar. Is there cheddar that's it's only the shredded? There's one cheese they have that's only shredded cheese.
I think it's cheddar. You don't like that.
Let's get some slices in there, Subway.
What else do we want to say? You have anything you want to throw Subway's way, Seth?
I think you guys could, if you want some cheese crisps, some homemade, home cooking cheese crisps to put on top of that Philly cheese monster thing that you have, you know who to call. Okay,
You ask for it toasted, and they go put the sandwich, and you say, "No, just the cheese,
just the cheese,
Just the cheese.
just the cheese and bread." No,
just the cheese. I would prefer it if the meat was cold and the sandwich was stale. I just want hold the sandwich. Just give me. You got that little because they have their little conveyor belt thing. I feel like they could have just nonstop cheese
Going through
plate.
that.
Oh, they could-
I was like, how much do I have to pay you to sit at the end of your little conveyor belt with my mouth open and just have melted cheese?
Man.
I
Maybe
did not have a vegetable till I was like 21. So
And look how much you grew. So
yeah,
vegetables are the sham. Man.
apparently, yeah. People say, how do I get tall like you, Seth? Be constipated, I guess.
We did want to
It's a
bring
lot
up
of
one
cheese.
thing. We did want to bring up one thing with you because you were a member of the University of Utah basketball team,
I was.
that's
yeah.
right.
and we were actually interviewing fellow comedian Shane Smith.
Oh,
And you came up, and the idea that you played basketball for the University of Utah came up, and he said this. He said, "I didn't know they had a fifth string." Do you care to respond to what Shane
Yeah,
Smith
we
said?
want to give you a chance to respond.
well, I mean, here's the thing that like a lot of people do. So I was a walk-on, and I did not get playing time. I almost got playing time one time. That like they have the rip-off pants, and I was sitting at the end of the bench, and like I think either we were winning by a lot or losing by a lot, but the coach was like, Tippetts. I was like, just ripped off the pants. I'm tying my shoes. I'm trying, and then he's like, something happened in the game. Maybe we had a shot again, and he was just like, never mind. So I didn't actually get in.
So you never played in a game?
Never played an actual D1 game. I was on the team, and for some reason that gives every person who didn't play basketball at all like well, I guess you weren't very good then. And it's like, well, you weren't on the bench. Like it's a level above.
You're kind of like Rudy with a way sadder ending.
Rudy, oh, he didn't
Real
get
life
in.
Rudy.
He still
never
didn't
got
get
it.
in.
No, I assume you're very talented. We were going to do a comedian basketball league, and everyone was afraid of you, I feel like, but I want to do it still.
I would love to do it. We talked about. I mean, and I know that there's been other ones I've heard about, like in other markets, not
Yeah.
in our market. But I heard that there were some people who weren't good at basketball who were just like it was a comedians basketball league, but it wasn't supposed to be funny basketball. And I think there are some people that were going to do it like that. We're like, I'm just going to take out Seth's legs. Won't that be a gas? And
what?
or like doing granny shots and stuff. And so I think that's kind of why it got the kibosh because some comedians were like thinking of bits to do, and it's like no, we're thinking of plays to do. Okay,
It's not a comedy basketball league. It's a comedy
basketball league. Thank you for clearing that up.
Wow.
Well, tell us a little bit. Oh, Taylor has a question for you.
I think I had a follow-up question about the basketball.
So it's a round orange ball,
yeah.
colored as cheese. Actually,
Very
It's-
cheese-ish
Cheese. Did that? Oh,
why I
I
picked that
remember.
sport.
I remember a distant conversation we had about you having a little bit of a debacle with your coach about wanting to pursue comedy while you were on the basketball team.
Yeah, no. I actually my first open mic I did. I was 16, and I was doing like a little bit of comedy throughout high school. But then when I got into college, I was still doing it, and I posted a couple videos online. And the coach apparently was too distracting to the team. My early stand up because the other guys on the team were like they found him and they were watching him and then quoting them at practice. And the coach thought, oh, there must be some hilarious viral video, and then he found out it was just me. And he was like, so I had my foot up in the air, and he comes over, he's like, I'm on the ground. He's just like, hey, Tippetts, no more of this comedy crap. And I was like, yeah, it's a good one, coach. He's like, no, seriously, if you could do stand-up again, you're off the team. So I was like, oh. And I was on the bench. I didn't really have a lot of weight to throw around. Well, if I can't pursue my art, I'm done. And they're just, yeah, okay, see ya. I guess we'll have to give your ripped off pants to someone else.
So did you actually stop? Or
I did.
Or just do it in secret?
I should have done it in secret. Like a stronger, cooler person would have just been like, my alter ego. That's what I should have had a stage name. I should have just like been, I can't think of a stage name.
Somehow been much shorter in a trench coat.
Yeah. Oh, that's how I'd get away with it. I'll be Seth, but in a wheelchair. They're like, there's no way that guy's a collegiate athlete.
I did tell Seth once he should do a set where he's on his knees and has shoes on his knees, like right here.
Oh, yeah.
And so he knows what it's like for us to do stand-up because it's different up there, I feel like.
Yeah, you talk about how you can
But
see people.
I'd also have to have jokes to know what it's like to do stand-up like you. That's the...
You can take some of mine.
Which ones?
Just being a fat
Are we
redhead.
gonna bid on your jokes?
Yeah. But no, I think you should
$1,
$1,
$12.
We could go a little bit higher with that.
We're starting with 12.
Yeah, no, I'm out at 12. I'm sorry.
I'd pay at least $100 for your hamster joke.
Hey, the hamster joke's coming together.
Hamster God, I'm a big fan.
This hasn't seen the Dry Bar stage
Has
yet.
not.
Oh, a little spoiler alert.
Maybe if you send me a fourth
Try
special.
it out
Fourth
now.
special.
Try it out now. If it works with
Nobody.
It's
if it works with zero crowd,
This hamster bit's too long. It's too dark. It's twisted.
a twisted hamster bit.
I legitimately say twisted hamster in it.
that's right.
Well, I am intrigued.
It's
And
about
if someone as pale as Jordan goes dark, you know it's going to be good. That's
it's about a hamster murder that happened in my childhood. I didn't murder a hamster. One of my hamsters
a mergster,
killed
if
the
you
other
will.
hamster, and I talk about it for 35 minutes.
Man. All right. Well,
Not even on stage. He'll just anyone he talks to for 35 minutes.
Yeah, you don't want to get me going. We don't have time for it.
You and your
Yeah.
celery bit, him and his hamster. You're like, who needs conversation?
We've covered all the
Well,
bases of comedy. I feel
Basically,
we got it all.
like. Yeah.
We
So you started
got
at
it
16 though. So you've been doing comedy for how old are you?
don't act surprised. You've been doing comedy a lot longer than your skill would suggest.
No, just people usually don't start that young.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully they didn't have a liquor license at the time. But even if they did, I bet you they wouldn't have carded me because I was big and I had a beard.
As a
As
16-year-old?
16-year-old.
Oh yeah, you know they had those age guessy things. Like I was raking in stuffed animals because I was as a 16-year-old. They were just like I don't know 29. So I'm hoping that I've plateaued. Like I hope I just looked 30 for the last 20 years, and
I'd
that would
say
be good
so.
for me.
So what was it like? What made you want to do it as a 16-year-old? As a 16-year-old, I didn't even think I knew what stand-up was.
I didn't know stand-up. Like what happened was a friend of mine was not having a good time on a date, I guess, and he calls me up. He's, "Oh, Seth, I need someone to help grease the wheels on this conversation. You never stop talking." And I was like, "Oh, I can be there." But I couldn't get a date that short notice because he was like actively on the date. So sometimes when people go to the bathroom, they may be calling me to like save your date.
You've gotten me out of a few
A couple of
dinner conversations with my wife. I really appreciate it.
a couple of sticky situations. But so I couldn't get a date. He's like, just third wheel it, man. Just come on over. And so I like went to this girl's house and we ended up just watching Jim Gaffigan. And then that was the first time I'd seen. I'd only seen like Seinfeld clips, and I thought, oh, stand-up was a fun, quirky thing that existed in the '90s.
Yeah,
because a lot of
he did it. That's what to me. I was like, he must be one of like 3 people that does this.
Yeah. And I like growing up in stand-up, I just realized how many other people were like, oh, I was a huge fan of all these people. I watched them all. I had their albums, and I'm just like, I found out about it yesterday.
That's great.
But I saw Gaffigan, I was like, I could do that. And then I just went to open mic, and I watched it one week, and then the next week I performed.
So you saw the Hot Pockets bit, and you thought, what's some other microwave-related humor that I can do?
Did you do well your first time?
Cheeseplates. My very first time I did pretty well. I had some like awkward moments because you're gonna have that, but like got a lot of laughs. And
Wow. At 16.
yeah, and maybe it was because I was 16 because people could tell I was just young and stupid. Because I know that's kind of a gimmick, but I wasn't dirty. Like my very first open mic was all clean because that's just what I was writing. And then I had like a period where I was doing dirtier stuff because I thought that's what worked. Because open micers tend to be dirty, but I didn't know how to write dirty, so it was bad. It was like aggressive. So I did really good my first time, and then just had terrible, terrible dirty jokes and then eventually came back to writing stuff that I enjoyed.
Do you remember your first joke that you did at open mic?
Yeah, I had a lot of like little one-liners, but like the only bit I did was like kind of a story about going to the dentist and just not feeling the laughing gas because I'm a very large human, and like the dentist came back like 4 or 5 times. He like went and saw a different patient because it was taking too long to get me like laughed up or whatever. And then eventually it like all hit me at once, and I like was standing on the chair when he came back in the last time.
You were standing on the chair?
Yep. With the sucker thing in my, like I like picked it up and was just like, oh, I suck.
Wow.
You were doing wordplay while you were high on laughter.
I was, and it was. I think it was because I was like laying. I don't know, something about the way I was sitting. And like I was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything at all. And then it was all of a sudden just like I don't remember where I am. And that was my first one of my first jokes I did was about the dentist.
Oh man,
that's great. That's
you
fun.
got to hear Jordan's first bit. I mean,
do you want me to do this every podcast?
no.
Oh, so you're saying I have to watch the other ones to see this bit?
We'll send you the time code.
Good, because I don't want to watch the rest of this great conversation.
The thing is, I would ask for Taylor's first joke, but he hasn't written one yet.
Oh, sick burn!
All right.
Make
Just
it,
because what
make
I
it.
do is art. I don't do jokes. I do art.
I'm
art.
kidding, man. Yeah, make me laugh.
Just like putting bread in pancakes. He does art.
I've been subverting expectations since I was a kiddo.
Yeah, your mom thought you were going to be a good son.
Oh, now that is too low.
You've ruined the pancakes again. What is it with the bread? We keep taking him to a therapist, and he says he's got a compulsion with bread. It's bread CD.
the pancakes were too spicy. We had to throw some white bread in there. Well,
I guess we
helped
didn't
a lot
ask
of
if it was
people.
white bread. Was it wheat bread?
It was absolutely white bread.
Okay. I was because maybe if there's like some grains involved and you wanted some like hearty oats, I could see it.
were you throwing crusts in there? Or were you decrusting the bread?
I was throwing it all in. Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah. But I still like making blender pancakes, but without the baking powder or soda. I get
Blender
those two mixed
pancakes?
up. Yeah, you just blend up all the ingredients in a blender, and then you dump it. Have you not heard of this?
I mean,
I
I use a whisk.
You guys are mixed.
I buy Crusties.
which is a horrible
Put a
name
scoop-
for a brand.
Put a scoop
But
and
I
put
know.
some
doesn't
water
that
in there.
sound disgusting?
Your aura
Yeah.
says Crusties, I think.
My middle name is Krusty's. Like, the way Krusty's is spelled makes it sound like a motor oil. Maybe that's why my grandpa got... It's like, are you having a hard time with your engine block? Apply some Crust Ease.
Oh, this will be delicious.
It eases the crust on your pistons.
Is that because of Rusty's?
Yeah, I think
from
so.
Cars?
It might be.
So tell us the ingredients that are in a pancake. Off the top of your head. No.
Motor oil.
Hold the bread this time.
Hold the bread.
Hold the bread.
Yeah.
Traditional pancakes, if you
Okay.
will.
We've got flour,
Okay.
milk, eggs,
All right.
sugar, butter. That's it. And baking soda.
Krusty's. I feel like we're more efficient.
Oh, it's baking powder. It's not soda. It's not baking soda. It's baking
Okay.
powder.
Because I was real confused when you said.
But I don't put the baking powder in because I like them denser, more like a crepe. Now, we can get
the-
more
and
into
the-
this
and
if
the
we have
bread fluffs
time.
it up
Do we
a
have
little
time?
bit.
Oh, we don't have time.
we're running.
Oh,
How much time are we supposed to
We have 2 more hours. And
to talk about
good.
pancakes?
We'll hit on the
Thank
hamster
goodness.
thing and the pancake. Yeah.
so 16 years old.
16 years old.
How old are you now? Do you talk
Hooked
about your
on
age?
laughing gas.
I'm 31.
You're 31.
Yeah, I don't talk about it, so secret's out.
Oh my god.
You've been doing comedy so much longer than me.
And yet,
Because I'm 34, but I didn't start till I was 24.
see, the thing I think.
What do you think?
I thought that no, I don't know how valuable it is to do stand up like super young because you haven't lived enough life to be interesting in any or authentically, like you can't be in touch with yourself as a 20-something because you don't even know who you are. And so because you started, I mean, later. Elena Hershey's super funny.
Elena Hershey,
and
yeah.
she started later. Like I don't know. The only thing that I think you can get earlier is maybe like stage presence, but
Unless you're Pete Davidson. And then you've seen that clip of Pete Davidson as like a 16-year-old.
oh, was he funny?
Well, he immediately went on SNL, so I guess it helped him somewhat. You know what I mean? He was pretty funny.
I do feel that being young is a gimmick to a degree.
It absolutely is.
When someone sees someone who is funny or even saying like off-brand things, because like I've seen a lot of people come through open mic, they're like younger kids and they just do like horrifyingly dirty comedy, and you're just like, what? This is a weird juxtaposition. But if you put those same jokes with an adult, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate you bashing my celery bit like that.
Did I bash?
My horrifyingly dirty celery bit.
Oh, well, it is.
that he wrote when he was 11 years
Yeah.
old.
What's the deal with beep celery?
When I ran away from home at the age of 9,
It was
went
me
straight
and
to an open mic.
Me and a bindle bag full of celery and
all I
bread
had.
for all the pancakes I knew I would make.
There's also a clip of this really young kid who's like maybe 9, and he's doing stand-up about like Legos and stuff. And the audience like loves it, but it's because he's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Lego bit gets nothing.
I know. I love Legos. So it helped Pete Davidson, but that might, I mean, basically, like, I don't think it's going to hurt. If someone was like, oh, I'm too old to start stand up, it's like, no, like, as long as you have a unique perspective and you're a funny person,
Yeah.
like, you can pick the rest up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you started seeing Jim Gaffigan. Did you, were there any other comedians you started watching at the beginning after you started doing comedy, or was like Jim Gaffigan your only person you?
I mean, he was the first one I saw, and I started seeing people like at the club. I think the first live show I saw was Hannibal Buress, which was
cool.
kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Then I saw Gaffigan live, and that was cool. But no, I didn't watch a ton of stand up because I had this problem, and I still kind of do, and I still don't watch a ton of stand up. That like I just have a really audio based memory, and I just don't want to steal a joke by accident because early on I did. Like obviously, I think when people like have someone that they're a fan of, they'll like mirror the voice a little bit, and I definitely did that a bit with Gaffigan. I think
Yeah, I remember your Hot Pockets bit for years.
we kept saying, "Seth, it's been done." I was like, "Why are you so mean to me? He's the fattest kid." But and I think I did like straight up lift a Seinfeld bit at one point, and
really?
thankfully people were nice enough to be like, "Hey, Seth, that's Seinfeld's bit," and I was like, "No, it's." Then they show me the video. I did use all those words
I
in
watched
that
that
order.
last night, yeah.
Exactly.
You're just right. You're just like, it's just coming to me.
These jokes write themselves. Like, you're watching YouTube. Of course they write themselves.
It's like,
He's saying what I'm thinking right before I think it.
if only I would have thought of this in the 90s. They would have been, how am I thinking about this thing about how many buttons blazers have? This is unreal.
Yeah.
What's the deal? Oh, I can't do a sign. Keith banned me. He banned me from doing Seinfeld impressions. He said it's not topical.
He's not here.
He's not here, but he's going to watch this. He's not going to watch it.
Well, tell us a little bit about your experience filming your dry bar specials.
Right.
Well, both were super fun. I don't know if you guys felt. Well, you haven't done a special.
No.
Sorry to point that out. We're gonna cut that.
Just to be clear,
Just to be clear,
he has not
celery has not made it to the World Wide Web quite yet.
Yeah, but I've got a kind of underground special. You guys can see it at a URL I'll put in the. No, I don't. I don't even do stand up anymore.
You don't even do stand up anymore.
I do.
Wait, was the last time you did stand up when you opened for me?
That was a really bad experience, but that wasn't the reason. I was just kidding.
He's like, I opened for Seth and I just said, I'm done. This is rock bottom for me.
When was that? That was like a year?
It was
2 years?
last March, probably.
Okay. No, I've been doing a lot of improv. All right, boo. Yeah, I get it. All right. And
Oh,
then-
you have a joke about improv.
Yeah,
And how-
also a 20-minute bit, but literally a 20-minute bit. About,
Look up Jordan's joke about improv. He hates improvers
this is like a
Improver.
Romeo and Juliet thing.
from two different worlds.
Taylor. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Capulets and something, and a suggestion from the
Montesquieu.
audience.
Yeah,
What were we talking about?
your dry bar specials.
Trevor Special.
Oh,
What
yeah.
that experience was like.
So, have you guys ever gone down like a water slide face first?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
They have some of those that like you're supposed to do that. It was like the exact same feeling where I'm like,
You're that sweaty.
I was that sweaty. No, I definitely was. But you're just barely going down the slide, and you're like, oh, I could die. This is bad. I don't want to be here. But you're like, well, the decisions I've made in life have led me to this point, and might as well just here we go. Because I like when they announced my name both times, I'm just like, I don't want to. Can I leave? Could I just peace? Because it's just like so much adrenaline and
my hair's so confusing.
my
right now.
hair is profoundly. Oh my gosh, it's profoundly confusing. But yeah, I mean, it was once you get that first laugh, then it's just another regular show, I think. But yeah, like right before that, boy, am I a pacer. I'm just walking around, just like, am I funny? Do I remember any of these jokes?
This is your first one you're talking about.
No, both. I mean,
Both.
like well, the first one, yeah, I was married for my first one, so my wife at the time was there to make it more nerve wracking. She was there like, don't forget this, your hair looks bad. No, she was very supportive. Second one, I was divorced and bitter, and so
Less supportive. That
well, and a lot of my jokes were about divorce. And so
time. She's still in the audience like, go Seth. Yeah, I love what you're doing up there.
you know what's great about those divorce jokes is that my ex-mother-in-law, big fan.
Really?
She like I posted some of those divorce jokes like right after maybe a couple months. I can't remember when I wrote them, but it was a couple months after the divorce was final. And I get a message from my mother-in-law. So funny, Sethy. Love what you're doing. I was just like, woo.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's how you know you're coming across the aisle. When your ex-mother-in-law loves your divorce material.
Just like an improv and a stand-up comedian sitting together right now.
That's... Why can't I be part?
Oh yeah. Why not?
Why can't I be part of this electric chain here?
There's a cover photo for the pod. And we've also done some dry bar tour shows together.
We
It's
have.
been fun. Do you remember when we had to drive to Arizona with no air conditioning?
Oh my gosh, that was no air conditioning and yeah. I was trying to like work at the. I remember I had my laptop with me, and eventually I just had like these burn marks from the fan. It was like,
Oh jeez.
and the great thing was that like, was it you that suggested that we just like need to swap out like one of them Freon canisters or something?
I don't think so.
Apparently he did.
Sounds like Jordan.
Is that not a Jordan making? I mean, you might not know much about cars, but Jay Whitaker was with us on that tour, and he thought that that in a pinch you could just put regular gas in a diesel engine. Like,
Wow.
Paul Sheffield was driving, and he's just like, we're driving, we're like, oh, we got to find a diesel. This. He's like, why can't you just use regular right now? We got to get there. We got to go. It was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll have Jay on in a few episodes. We'll bring that to his
We'll
attention.
confront him
We'll
and
confront him
see
about
who
it.
actually came up with the genius Freon idea.
Well, we went to a dealership to fix it, and there were like 100 people. Do you remember how full that dealership was?
We were there for a while.
And nothing happened. We just left, right?
I think so. Well, maybe it was just like a harebrained. Someone suggested that we like turn the air conditioning down because it was being overworked. And I think I'm pretty sure whatever it was, whether it was a canister or turning it down, Paul on the drive back, because I think we flew back or something.
Oh, Paul told me this in confidence. Maybe he told you too. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know if I was allowed to say it.
Oh, should we not say it?
Well, I think now we can because you brought it up, not me. And so we were blasting the AC, and Jay kept suggesting maybe it's like pushing it too hard. Maybe if we turn it to a lower setting, it'll cool us off. And Paul was like, no.
I'm pretty sure everyone was like, that's the dumbest idea we've ever heard, Jay.
Yeah.
And it might have been after the diesel thing, so he didn't really have a lot of street cred
Yeah,
with
exactly.
vehicles at the time.
He redeemed himself with this, but we would never let him know it.
Yeah.
So we were like, no, we just need air going. And then all of us flew back except for Paul, right? Didn't
Yeah.
Paul drive back? And Paul,
Where were you driving to?
We were driving to, was it in Phoenix? We drove all the way to
We
Phoenix.
drove, there was a couple things. I think it was to Phoenix, and then we flew back.
The
'cause we
hottest
had-
place on earth.
It
Yeah.
was super
I
hot.
think
And
it
it was
just
like
got
middle,
hotter and
I think it was
hotter.
like August.
And on the way, we get home, and Paul's like, I have to tell you something. He's like, on the way home, I just turned it to the lowest setting, and it was blowing cool air the entire
Oh,
time.
that's hilarious.
And he said, never tell Jay.
Oops.
There you go. It's out.
It's out.
It's out of the bag.
Secrets being revealed here on Dry Bar Pod.
That's
Still not the worst like tour leg in terms of like vehicle transportation. Did Alex tell you about in Ohio?
you had to get a U-Haul, right? Tell us that story.
We were me and Alex and I'm trying to remember who the other it was Karen Rontowski. I can't remember the other comic, but it's because the other comic was the one that like abandoned us in rural Ohio. See, that's the thing. Like Brigham City, I was like, oh, that's a small town. It's not small enough that they wouldn't have a taxi, Uber, rental car, something, right?
Yeah.
And Piqua, Ohio, we're 3 hours away from like, or there's at least a few hours away from like any major city or airport. And the other comic was like, oh, I can drive you up there. And we're like, great. And we just assumed that included a ride back to civilization. But he drove us up there. He's like, oh, hey, so I got a gig on the other direction on Sunday. So I'm going to drive down. And I don't even think it was, I think it was like a showcase or something. So I'm going to drive down to that because it wasn't planned. He just like got this gig.
Yeah.
And so he just left me and Alex in Piqua, Ohio in February. And we look up a cab from Cleveland was going to be $600. There were no rental cars. There's zero rental cars. And when we looked up Uber, I've never seen the status code that it popped up. It was just like, no Uber drivers. There's just zero. I was like, you're telling me there's not one dude who's like, I can make a buck taking Miss Daisy down the street, like whatever. So we were just like stranded. We're driving by and Alex in his brilliance sees he's like, well, people have to move, right? There's a U-Haul. There's only one U-Haul. So we took this town's U-Haul. And it's like the move your family across the country U-Haul. It's like the biggest one they sell, and it's just 50 feet in one direction, 100 feet tall, and the smallest cab in the world. I don't have no idea. My knees were in my chin, but $150. So if you're ever stuck in the middle of and the best part was we dropped it off at the airport, and the guy's like, all right, so he's like checking things off. We're like, oh, hold on, we got to grab some stuff out of the back. He's like, you're supposed to empty it before you get here. And we just roll up the things. There's 2 suitcases at the far end of the thing. So we have to jump in, grab the suitcases, and the guy's looking at us like, what did you do?
That's hilarious.
You just rented so yeah, cheap rental car if you're in a pinch.
$150. It's not bad.
Not bad. Not better than
150.
$600.
The gas was $500. But
Well, the other thing was it only went 50 miles an hour. It was like so big and so old. There was
that's incredible.
But I got pictures of Alex just breaking the ice off the wall. And
Yeah, it was a good Insta story. I think you or Alex was posting stuff as it was happening. It was fun to watch your struggles.
U-Haul,
So too hot,
man.
too cold. That's tour life.
Yeah.
Well, Seth, we're about to the end of our time slot here.
Are you saying I've waxed long? I feel like that U-Haul story was too long for too little payoff, and I feel like Alex is going to tell it better when he's on here.
No.
Alex is not going to be on
First
here?
of all, we won't have him on.
No, we refuse.
If he finds his way on here, he's not telling that story.
I mean, Alex is also
Alex
over on...
does watch it. Sorry,
he's
Alex,
over-
you can do whatever you want.
He's
Let me
over
know.
on Nate Bargatze's podcast. I think he's a little too big for Celery Man and Heck Boy.
U-Haul. Well, great. Seth, is there anything you want to plug before we have to get out of here?
I should have thought about this. I mean, check out my website, I guess, Seth Tippetts, Tippetts, 2 P's, 2 T's, like toilet paper. There should be a better mnemonic. I haven't found it. No one's going to spell it right. You can actually also just go to tallseth.com, which is a lot easier to spell.
Tall Seth.
Yeah, it redirects to the real one. Tallseth.com if you want to see my upcoming dates. I think I'm going to D.C., Albany, New York. I'm going to be at Kent State University with the Dry Bar Tour November 4th.
Nice.
So,
Well, this will come out way after that.
good.
So that's
That's why I was just like, maybe I'll just mention my website so that any time of year you can see this. I should mention this is 2023.
Yeah.
So that when they release this in 2026, when I'm dead, that people will know where they can go pay their respects. On my
your
website,
website, yeah.
tallseth.com. Before I die, I'm definitely putting up a comment section so people can continue to talk about how bad my hair is and the way I dress. That was the other thing. It was like people, first special, they said I was wearing a blouse. That was a big comment. Like, this guy's wearing a blouse. Second special, they're like, I had some jokes about dating, and they're like, he wouldn't have such a hard time dating if he got rid of that spare tire. And I'm just like,
Jeez.
whoa,
Brutal.
easy.
Come on, Dry Bar fans.
Dry Bar
Throw
fans.
some compliments on those clips.
Yeah.
All the trash jokes, very complimentary. All the jokes about the earth, or like flat earthers and stuff, boy, I pissed off those people. They did not. They want to push me off the edge of the planet. I think they do. Whoosh.
If you want to push Seth off the edge of the planet, go to tallseth.com. Get those upcoming tour dates. Well, it's been a blast having you on.
Thanks for having me.
You're a joy.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for being here, Seth. Hope we do more tour dates together.
We should.
Nice, hot, sweaty ones.
As sweaty as we can make them. Let's go to Arizona in the middle of August again.
Sweatier the better. Steadier.
I'm actually just going to take out the Freon the next time we go on tour. Just like, I don't know what's happening, guys.
sweat
But
it
doesn't it
out.
remind you of those good times? It's just a nostalgia.
Well, thank you, Seth, and thank you to the viewers. This has been the Dry Bar Comedy Podcast. We'll see you next time.